This is Jonathan Ferguson, the Keeper of Firearms and Artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett, and we are back with even more weapons of Battlefield 6, including some of the new additions from the launch of Season 1, and finally, we have a PSR. Have you heard about the requirements to get this weapon and how that's changed?
I have not.
The challenge to unlock this is get 300 kills with sniper rifles and get headshots over 200 meters 150 times. 150 200 meter headshots is a lot of headshots to get. DICE and EA realise that because they're changing the challenge requirement from 150 to 5. That change hasn't come yet. So Muggins here has had to sit on a hill and get over 150 200 meter headshots, but we've got the PSR, so it's all been worth it. But now, without further ado, it's over to Jonathan.
Now, this is a particularly good one for me to look at because I've recently been looking at this for reasons in a bit of detail. So I can confirm my previous impression that DICE have done a hell of a job not being too legally different. So this is a very good approximation of the FN SCAR SC subcompact. So one of the details, for example, that they've carried over is there is no finger bump on this otherwise M16A2 pattern pistol grip because that was specifically removed for the SC variant. So had they tried to make it look different or had they based it on the civilian pistol version, it would have had the bump and that would have been wrong. They have a version of the FNH logo on there, but obviously that is legally different. The name is different, but the gun itself is basically spot on. I can't see anything wrong with this.
What is the real-world version that you've got chambered in? Because this one is 300 blackout in game. Although on the other side of the weapon, the elastic bands or the tape on the magazine says 300 blockout.
Blockout. Well, that's a trademark. That I think name as well. So they would have to change that.
But it says blackout everywhere else except the inside of the weapon, where it'll say blackout, 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 and then blockout. So I think someone's tried to sneak an Easter egg in there.
Possibly. Well, they can't spell. Yeah, so this one is in 5.56. However, the actual marking on the weapon is multi-caliber and always has been on the SC.
Well, the in-game one says 5.56 by 45, but does shoot 300 blackout.
Okay, so we found an error because it should say multi-caliber. Or at the very least, maybe someone's done a special order and they should all say 300 blackout. So it's called the wrong caliber. 300 blackout would, in theory, make it a little bit more of a handful, but it was certainly very controllable in short bursts out to 100 with, I think it was a red dot sight. This, of course, is absolutely plain just with the folding sights. If you are thinking he's not right there because the selector is wrong in the game, it's not. This is only on the early SC. They reverted with this and the rest of the SCAR range to the classic SCAR selector for whatever reason. So this like giant plastic version of an AR-15 selector is only on the early SCs. Ours is serial number 174, so it's quite early. Now, having played 40 odd hours, I think at this point, I'm always very aware that the first thing you want to fit is a vertical grip on anything, but certainly on something short like this, it's really going to help. And yeah, of course it will. So I can't remember if the one I fired had one or not, but we just have this hand stop on here. You can get your fingers around the rail covers and pull it down that way quite happily, but it's definitely going to help, I think, to have something to literally pull straight down on to keep the muzzle down. Especially the gameplay of Battlefield, certainly of Battlefield 6, lends itself to like maybe you snatch off single shots, but you basically leave it on full auto, which I think is a shame. The one thing Call of Duty does do better for me than Battlefield is you can more profitably, certainly in campaign at least, run the weapons on semi-auto, which is much more realistic. Battlefield kind of forces you to use automatic fire, which is fun, but a bit less realistic. Yes, I know neither of them are realistic before anyone starts. I have paused because you've done something horrific to this poor SCAR.
I've done nothing. This was an unlockable all of Dice's creation.
Oh, of course it is. Oh God, yes. No, I've seen this in my unlock progress, or at least the skin.
This is one of the weapons that has come with the new season, and with the new season has come the battle pass, and with the battle pass have come some unlockable cosmetics.
Yeah. What have they done to their otherwise realistic buttstock? So this is actually rubber. It deforms because it's up against your face, and they've cleverly wrapped video game bullshit tape right around where the stock collapses. Like at best it's doing nothing. At worst, it's going to impede your operation of the stock. Everything else, okay, it's cosmetics. Not a fan of that vertical foregrip with the knuckle bow guard on it. That's a great way to get your fingers broken if the weapon gets knocked out of your hands or you fall over and have to put your hands down or something. Welcome to one or more broken fingers. Doesn't really make any sense and doesn't add anything. Unless you're planning to use the weapon to punch out as a melee tool. Not really a fan of that. The artwork of the wolf is cool, to be honest. It's a nice bit of artwork there. Just not really a fan of... I mean, they're trying to be a bit restrained, aren't they, compared to some of the excesses of Call of Duty. I'll give them that. And that's, of course, a fictional buttstock as well, based on this one. But there's so much detail in the model. I'm going to focus on that rather than the special version. Like this gas plug here and the gas regulator. Everything's the right shape, the right size. We've got the downturned cocking handle there, which is a feature of all of the Mark II scars. First appears on this. I think I'm going to have to give this a go in the game, actually. Having actually shot a few rounds through it in real life, be interesting to play the game with it for a bit before I inevitably revert to something that's really good, like the P90. Oh, I guess this is a carbine, is it?
Yeah, it's in the carbine class.
Which is probably appropriate. Although, really, anything this barrel length is functionally being a submachine gun. You're getting a lot less velocity out of that cartridge. Yes, the RPK. I've been killed by this many times. I know people that love it.
Yeah, a lot of people are using this thing.
Yeah, I would like to use it. So RPKM, the modernized form of the RPK, still in 7.62 by 39. Now, it's a little bit of a fudge, I think. Probably more realistic would be an RPK 74 in 5.45. Interesting that they've chosen to go with that.
Yeah, there's no forgetting what caliber it is.
No. Is this the stock configuration? Because I keep seeing it in this configuration.
Yeah, this is how it comes as you unlock it.
Okay, so I think what they're going for is not a factory configuration. It's kind of, and this may be an ignorance on my part. I haven't seen one modernized in this way, but it has like a modernized rail system, the round bolt knob that we see on modernized AKs in general. Features like that. So I guess the idea here is that someone has an issue, RPK for whatever reason. Actually, they probably are still using them in Russia. Anyway, I think they're going for an aftermarket upgraded RPK, just like we see with AKs. The reason I say that this has to be like an aftermarket modernization is if you look at the RPK, the actual RPKM, which was a thing, it's just a polymer furniture folding stock RPK. M for modernized, of course. It doesn't have the rail top cover, the handguard, the bolt handle. Those are all very typical kind of aftermarket things.
I think one of the reasons we see this so often now is because the maps are a bit smaller than in previous Battlefield games. So
they do feel like they are, yeah. So
people wanting to run an LMG, it's more beneficial for them to use a box mag LMG for a quicker reload than it is to risk a belt fed getting that close quarters combat and be stuck with a long reload. At least with a box, you're a bit more flexible when inevitably you end up in close quarters because these maps run a bit smaller, especially in the attack defend game modes.
I mean, I think they need more credit for giving LMGs a pseudo-realistic role, because it really is super stable on the bipod and you can use it in essentially a different role, as you say. Otherwise, they just end up being glorified assault rifles, don't they? Like, even more so than like minimes and things, where it's like really stretching it to be, well, not that much, but you get to use it like a real light machine gun, which is good. Interesting that they've written 7.62 on the side, implying that they are running different AK family firearms not in 7.62, which is something you might do. Although I think you'd probably grasp from the curvature of the magazine. Maybe not if you had a drum fitted. I assume it has a drum unlockable.
Yeah, you can eventually get a drum for the RPK, but it's like mastery level 39 or something. I think you get a 60 rounder earlier than that, but it takes some grinding to get the big drum. And it costs so many points, it negates a lot of the other benefits of using other attachments.
Yeah, having played a lot more of the game now, I am appreciating what feels like a weight-based accessory system. So there's like an arbitrary ceiling, whereas in reality it'd be like, damn, this is too heavy, I need to take some stuff off. In the game it's like, no, you literally can't fit anything beyond a weight limit or a point score limit, really. But I think that's a really good way of doing it. Instead of having the slot system of Call of Duty, I like the ability to be more flexible. I can put a ton of stuff on, but it has to be the lower point stuff. I'm definitely a fan of doing it that way.
So are you hypothesizing that those points represent weight? Because that is quite interesting.
That's how my brain kind of read it. But the more I think about it, the more I realise that's kind of not overtly stated and possibly not even the intent. But that's kind of how I think about it.
Bizarrely, we have our very own Customised sweater. This is a selection of our cursed weapon designs adapted by our artist Hatlegs to fit this very festive pattern. Stocks are limited and you need to act fast if you want to get these in time for the holiday period, which is why I'm sneaking into this video to tell you all about them right now. If you want to pick up a sweater or any of our other pieces of merchandise, head to expvideo.info to check out the full range. With that out of the way, I'll get back to the video. I think, were you running this when we played together?
I was at the time. Yeah, we only got one round in, didn't we, before I had to run off. But I'm glad we got one in. And yeah, I was early days with the 417. I didn't get it to this point. Now, this is from, oh God, I think this is an A5. No, sorry, it is an A2. See, nearly caught myself out. So the 416 A5 equivalent on the 417, because it's had way fewer iterations, is the A2. So when they call this what do they called it? Something 417 A2? M417?
It's called M417A2 in game, so
That's loosely correct. So we have that, it's the H key, which is HK's version of M-Lock handguard. It's not as long, it's less bulky, it's slightly light, considerably lighter for a handguard, I guess, and a bit more comfortable. You can choose which bits of rail to put on where and how long they are, but it's visibly more modern. It's got some quality of life improvements, notably that handguard over the older generation 416 and 556 and the 417 in 762 NATO. You've got that flared magwell on there, which makes me twitch a little bit. But I think I put one on mine after we played because it does seem to give you a useful reload speed improvement, which is another good kind of, here's a thing that gives you a stat boost and it does it in a way that makes some sense. That's the whole point of a big flared magwell. You can be a bit more hasty about getting it in there because it's guided into the actual magwell by the extended magwell. You're not likely to see that on a weapon in combat like this because it makes the whole thing a bit bulky. But I have seen flared magwells on 556 rifles in SOF use. I don't think with the bigger caliber, you're less likely to see it on this. Then again, with the short barrel, which is the default, we're looking at the assaulter, what HK calls the assaulter configuration. I'm kind of drawn in this game to these short, heavier caliber weapons. I don't know how you feel.
I was about to say, yeah, I really like this thing. I use this a lot. This is one of my preferred carbines. I'm working to get the 25 round magazine on it to make it a bit more effective when assaulting positions. You know, on the bigger maps as well, a rifle like this allows you to harass the snipers back a bit more, which I'm always a fan of. Keep their heads down.
Absolutely, totally agree there. And it may amuse or interest people to know that I play with a colleague in this world, in the modern firearms sphere, who I won't name, who refers to this rifle, you know who you are, as his beloved.
This is the Q minifix, one of the new weapons to appear in the new season. 556 bolt action.
Yes, I should have recognised this because I was literally holding one a couple of weeks ago. Weirdly, without its suppressor, because it was the integrally suppressed variant, and it didn't have the suppressor on, so it felt really weird and short. But that was my first time I've seen one up close, first time I've handled one. I haven't fired one. Yeah, it is quite distinctive as well in retrospect, but legally different names. And this is in a conventional configuration. So this is Q's take on a modern bolt action precision rifle, trying to some extent reinvent the wheel and sort of not necessarily stick slavishly to bolt actions that have come before and bring their own sort of take to it. That's kind of how they couch it anyway. Relatively fast action, if I recall, for a modern rifle, where there isn't that Western Front imperative for super fast Lee Enfield style running of bolts.
Well, that's interesting, because more so than any other bolt action, you can cycle the weapon so fast with this thing, and by default you're able to stay in the aim. A lot of the bolt action rifles, unless you get the ADS bolt, you have to unscope, cycle, scope back in. You can stay scoped in with this one, which means if you dial your shots in and there's a bunch of snipers on a ridgeline sitting still, you can just chain shots so beautifully.
Yeah, I get the impression it's designed for a modern bolt operation drilled, so like palming the bolt but fast, whereas the old Lee Enfield was all about finger and thumb on the knob, as it were, and just from the wrist, as it also were, just throwing the thing back and forth. So it's like two actions, two stages, not four. Like if I'm operating, it's kind of clack, 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 clack. But skilled people, it's just throwing it back and forth like that. We're not doing that anymore. We're not trying to do the mad minute. So something that's moderately fast, but also quite precise, and is designed from the ground up to be. I mean, we're still in an era where if you want a super precise sniper rifle, 1,000-meter plus weapon, you're probably still on a bolt gun, and they still have their place for distances within that. Up to 800 meters, though, you're probably going to encounter semi-autos in conventional military service.
There's an interesting detail on the scope. You can see on the inside of the lens cap the zeroing data.
Oh, yeah. So I don't have the best view right now, but that will be some version of DOPE, which has one of these backronyms where people say it's like data on precision engagement or something. It's not. I'm sure there'll be some actual snipers who will argue that one, but I have a lot of experience as an amateur etymology student, I guess, and it's never that. It's never a nice, neat acronym, unless it was coined that way by a manufacturer.
It's interesting that they've added that detail in, because it says 5.56 FMJ at the top of it, which I guess is implying that if you're shooting 5.56 from this weapon using the scope, this is what it's zeroed to. You know, aim two lines for like range 200 meters, you need to do half a marker above. For 300, it's 1.2.
It's not full data like you'll see taped to a buttstock on a sniper rifle, or like in a notebook or on a device these days, I assume. It's just specific information about that load for whatever fictional guy has put that in there. But it's a really nice detail. I guess it's a convenient bit of real estate on a gun that otherwise wouldn't have much obvious space to write that stuff, so you put it on the inside. That's probably taken from someone who's done that in real life. Precision shooters. Henry from 9-Hole Reviews would be able to give you a lot more insight on that side of things. Now, having mentioned Henry from 9-Hole Reviews, excellent channel, you definitely should check out if you haven't before. Now, the base gun I'm looking at, this is the Swedish AK-4D, or a close approximation of that configuration. So it's the HKG3 762 quote-unquote battle rifle, modernized with the rail on the top, and I believe the Hakan spur designed fore-end and buttstock. But the configuration that Henry picked up on was basically the same as what he is running in real life, doing long-range shooting with the thing. So I thought that was a nice little proof that the game can reflect reality. It may not be realistic, but it does reflect reality, that something he came up with, somebody else had come up with in a virtual form. Now, unfortunately, we don't have Henry's rifle, and we don't have the Spur modernized Swedish AK-4 either. What we do have is this abomination. A bit of counter-cursed firearm action for you. I hope you enjoy this.
It's been a while since I've seen that thing.
Yeah, we have shown this before, but it's been a while. Obviously, it's also a G3.
Watch this appear in Season 2's Battle Pass with the AK-4D.
I shouldn't show this stuff because people will only get ideas, but it shares the green pistol grip. Now, I meant to check this and didn't have time. I think the AK-4, which we don't have in the collection, I think the AK-4 has a black polymer pistol grip because I believe the original furniture for it was a black forend and a black pistol grip and a black polymer buttstock. But I am spitballing here, so correct me if I'm wrong. Then again, who's to say someone wouldn't buy a green one out of preference? I know it's a little bit of a stretch. But they've used the Swedish service designation as its name because that's roughly what it is. They could very easily change that to black if anyone's watching and cares. Right. I kind of forgot this was in the game because I've so far played almost exclusively Assault and Engineer. And I've played next to no support. Intrigued by it, but it feels like a lot. So M240L or the 240 Lima as they sometimes call it in American service. I think it's a fair approximation. The configuration, I'm not sure is the current one. Service folk, feel free to fill me in. I really like, first time I consciously have noticed how well the belt feed is handled. Like as you inspect the weapon and it cants and tilts, the belt twists and hangs in quite a realistic way. Oh, what just happened? I think you've burnt your hand?
Oh yeah, so if you fire a machine gun constantly for like 40 plus rounds, when you stop, the character will shake their wrist as if it's been strenuous on their wrist to hold that weapon, and the vibrations and controlling the recoil has taken its toll. So I've always missed it because I've fired the weapon till empty or just tried to reload quickly, but if you just leave them to it, they'll be like, damn, my wrist!
It's a nice touch that implies some kind of a physical toll from running around with big heavy guns shooting them all day. But yeah, the belt feed is really well done. I like the feed tray, the top cover, the way that's all done. Now, typically when you put your belt of ammunition on the feed tray, certainly with the FN mag generically, you have to hold it in place while you slap the top cover down. Some machine guns have a clip-in system where the belt will stay in place and you can close it however you like. Traditionally, there isn't one, and so you have to hold the belt in place. The way you're holding the weapon at that point, the belt probably isn't going to stay in place. But overall, really nicely done belt feed representation. And I think a good representation of the 240L. Chris Vector, let's have a quick look.
I barely know her.
Dad joke of the day.
It wasn't topping last one.
My first thought was, well, because I haven't messed with this yet, much better than the Call of Duty attempt where there's not even enough room in the receiver for this thing to actually function. My second thought was, oh no, they've got it wrong. Closely followed by, no they haven't. This is the third gen Chris Vector. So the two that you helped us get, here is one of them, are second gen. The third gen is essentially a total redesign and looks like this. So unsurprisingly, they've been following the news and they have gone with the current version. Now, this is still in production. Oh, it was last I checked anyway. And you are stuck with, I notice. So here is one of the extended magazines, giving us our 30 round capacity. But this is designed to take the 17 round, 13 round 45 ACP mag. But the one in the game is a 9mm. Is it not? Hence, 17 rounds, correct capacity. And inherently reduced ammo, which I'm guessing is a gameplay balance thing. But I'm also guessing you can get bigger mags later on.
You can, but I am glad they've not fallen into the trap of getting really big magazines for the Chris Vector. The maximum size you can get is 27 rounds, and that takes 45 customization points. So I think it's very common for a lot of games to get the Chris Vector, high rate of fire, really controllable, and put like a massive drum mag on and it immediately becomes overpowered. I feel like 27 rounds will make this thing very strong in close quarters, but you're having to pay 45 customization points for it. I think it's one of the most balanced Chris Vectors I've seen in games. I think they've done a really good job in implementing it. Having praised the KV9 Chris Vector 9mm in game, there is one element that I think does fall short in Battlefield 6, and that's the 2-round burst is rubbish.
Oh no, that's kind of the main thing of the Chris Vector.
It's implemented, and you know you can use it, but with the time to kill, in a game like Battlefield, there's just really no need to do so.
I mean, that does fit with how the game plays generally. Like semi feels pointless to use. So I can see how some of the high rate bursts don't really help at all. In reality, that's the main reason to have one of these in select fire. The diving Super V bolt, which by the way is one of the departures on the design, is that because they have this trademarked V logo on the side, there's a version of it on the Gen 3, I'm pretty sure, they can't show that, so they have to change that, which makes it immediately obvious this isn't the real thing. But what are you going to do? That's designed in. But yeah, in reality, 2-round burst at super high rates of fire is a reason to have this gun as a fighting weapon, which is what it was designed for. It came out of the post 9/11 world just before it was fully realized that submachine guns were probably not the way to go for most applications. Super controllable, close quarters, high rates of fire, high volumes of fire, counter-terrorist work. Absolutely what it was intended for, and it hasn't really found that niche, it's safe to say, but still quite a popular thing, not least because it shows up in games. And it's technically interesting and something innovative, which is rare to see, albeit it's like 20 years old at this point as an innovation. This is the Barrett MRAD.
So have you heard about the requirements to get this weapon and how that's changed?
I have not.
So currently, as of recording, and what I had to go through, is one of the challenge to unlock this is get 300 kills with sniper rifles and get headshots over 200 meters 150 times, which with the smaller maps of Battlefield, there's not a lot of opportunity to do. 150 200 meter headshots is a lot of headshots to get. And I think DICE and EA realize that because they're changing the challenge requirement from 150 to 5. Quite a change. Now, they've not changed that yet.
Yeah, I bet you're really happy about that.
So when I said in the previous episode, we'll try and get the PSR in for episode 3, knowing that they were going to change the challenge, that change hasn't come yet. So Muggins here has had to sit on a hill on Operation Firestorm and get over 150 200 meter headshots. Post the portal nerf as well, where there were lobbies set up to easily do these challenges. So I apologize to anyone that's been in my team for the past 7 hours, because I only finished this challenge at like 9 p.m. last night. That's how fresh this footage is. So I apologize to any teammates because I was being a not very useful recon during those hours. But we've got the PSR, so it's all been worth it. The game calls this weapon designed for extreme ranges, which I think is fair for a bolt action rifle in this caliber. The sniper rifle is most effective between 75 and 150 meters. Which that sentence is just makes me chuckle.
I suppose I should mention a PSR is not just short for print, shoot, repeat. It is precision sniper rifle. So that's the sort of brackets bit of the name of the Mark 22, which is the Barrett MRAD in, well, I guess technically US Navy nomenclature. If I'm trying to nitpick, this type of very short rock-in magazine, you probably don't want to be grasping it in that sort of beer can type grip. You could probably do it the way they're doing it, but really, in my relatively limited experience with this kind of thing, you want to cup it and rock it in like that, because I guess we do it a fair bit around here. It's just I haven't done it while shooting very much, but we're very conscious of dropping magazines because often they're a part of the object and we don't want to get them damaged. And obviously dropping them or failing to insert like that. There we go. He's kind of cupping it around the front. So not quite a beer can, but like this, and then kind of rocking it on. But the receiver comes down quite low on this design. And if your thumb or hand is stopped by the receiver, then it's not going to lock in. It's going to drop out when you let go. So it'd be like a beer can grip on an AR mag too high up, and it won't go in because your hand's too high up. That's the kind of, it's not wrong, but it's maybe not the way most shooters are going to do it. They're going to grab a magazine out of the pouch, essentially by the base plate, and rock it in that way. Especially if they're familiar with the bigger brother Barrett in 50 cal, because you have to do it that way, really. But yeah, I can see, it's a very cool looking weapon, quite a Gucci thing in real life. I can see why people would grind to get it, but those challenges are pretty tedious.
Well, luckily, most people, when you get around to trying to get this, you'll only have to get 5 headshots over 200 meters. Thank you all for watching. Let us know what other games, movies, TV shows, or beyond you would like to see on the show, and of course, subscribe. A massive shout out to all of our supporters over on the Patreon for supporting EXP and for allowing us to make cool stuff like this. Links to support Jonathan and the Royal Armouries will be in the description below, so make sure you check those out and send them some love as well. I appreciate you all watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, all of that good stuff, and we will see you very soon.